Hi everybody, it's John back again with another final reveal video. This time it's the turn of the Revell's 1/67th scale. Very old tool, Chance Vought Corsair. Crusader. This is the Crusader, the last gunfighter. I know it does look a little bit like a Corsair, but the aircraft was actually not derived from the Corsair in any way, shape or form. It just bears similar looks to the aircraft, but it performs completely different role. The Corsair was a dedicated ground attack strike aircraft, carrier borne obviously. The Crusader was it was a dedicated air defence aircraft for the carrier fleet, and it carried no attack ordnance whatsoever. The aircraft was purely for home air defence and cap. This particular kit is probably one of the oldest models I have ever built in terms of the age of the mould, the age of the model itself. I believe this kit to be somewhere in the region of about 58 years old. I think it was an late 50s release. And it's an unusual scale because 1/67th doesn't sound like a huge of amount larger in scale terms to 1/72nd scale, but I have built the ESI 1/72nd scale Crusader, and this kit is markedly bigger than that one. If I was going to liken it in dimensions wise to a 72nd scale kit, I would say it's similar in dimensions to the Airfix Vigilante in 72nd, or a Phantom. It's that big. It's quite a marked increase in size over a 72nd scale model, and I was quite surprised. I just want to turn this kit over a little bit for you so you can see a little bit of what's going on here. The kit is it's very basic indeed to build. It went together very, very quickly. The quality of the kit itself, as you can see, is not fantastic. It's but when this kit was released, it was actually state of the art. And it was one of the models that was released after Revell stopped utilising lumps and bumps to show you where the transfers go, which is quite nice. The underside of the kit is painted in standard Humbrol Gloss 22 white. The wheel well bays, main gear and nose wheel bays, are actually painted in matte 34 Humbrol matte white, and the top coat is just basic Humbrol Gloss 40, which is the gloss gull grey, which most US naval aircraft are painted in right up until about the late 1970s. All of the control surfaces are all painted in Gloss 22. The Sidewinder missiles are painted in Gloss 22. The jet pipe is painted in standard G11 silver Humbrol coat, and the forward nose cone is painted in semi-matte black, which is Humbrol 85. The forward sections of the sidewinders are actually painted in a Tamiya acrylic paint, which is their acrylic gunmetal, because a lot of sidewinder missiles, a lot of people make the mistakes, right, of painting the sidewinder tips red and blue and yellow and all the rest of it. But in actual fact, the US Navy basically used the same type of missile, which were general purpose heat-seeking sidewinders, AIM Mark 9s, and they generally were either matte black at the front or they were gunmetal, usually gunmetal. So I painted these gunmetal, and also the pilot, who is the guy that came with the kit itself, he was an unusual design because he had an outstretched arm which looked like he was doing something with the instrument panel, and I decided to paint him up in standard colours for the US Navy, but I gave him a red helmet, and I think it sort of tips off the aircraft completely. Bearing in mind this kit is over 55 years old. The transfers, I do want to talk about the transfers because there's something I noticed on one of my subscribers' videos the other day, which I think I could have done with watching before I use these transfers. and I'll explain what it is basically. But the transfers are quite old. They were in pretty good condition actually for the age of the transfer sheet. They had no abnormalities, no problems. The register was good. That they were very, very good transfers for when you consider the age of the kit. The only problem I had with them is that they were a little bit tarnished yellow. And I noticed the other day when I was watching one of my subscribers' videos about the Bomber Command Buddy build, and he built a first tooling of the Wellington, the Airfix Wellington, and the transfer sheet on his kit was so badly yellowed that he almost felt that he couldn't use them. And then he performed a little trick which I'd never thought of and never would have thought of in a million years. He put them in his window for 2 to 3 weeks to bleach the backing film, and that also gives you the chance to take a lot of the striking colourness out of the roundels and the markings to make them slightly faded and more weather looking. And it worked a treat. You know, when he slid the transfers off the backing sheet, the yellowish tarnished backing film on the transferred, I mean, they were still slightly yellow, but they weren't as bad as the ones that I put on here. And when he started putting them in the window, they were worse than these. So I wished I'd have used his idea, and it's definitely a really good tip if you have aging transfers to put them in the window and bleach them, because I wouldn't have thought it would have worked, but it does. As you can see, the transfers on this kit are a little bit yellow. They're a little bit tarnished backing film, but it's not that bad when you consider, you know, it's gone straight onto gloss varnish. Straight onto gloss paint, so there wasn't really much chance of the film shining because, yeah, obviously for obvious reasons. But there are 2 transfers on this kit that I really do wish I'd put them in the window, and that's these 2 double bars that are on the moving control surfaces of the ailerons, top and bottom. And they're probably worse underneath because you can see they're yellow, can't you? And that's a real shame. I'd wished I'd done that trick. So thanks for your video, Martin. That was really I was really impressed with that. Very impressed with the results you got with your Wellington too. Very class. Anyway, this is the Revell, one of the early tooling of the Crusader. I think the series of kits it belongs to is in the Air Combat series, Revell early Air Combat series kits, and they were all in very strange scales. None of them are in 72nd scale. Some of them are even in 187th. But I'm really enjoyed building this kit, even though it's an absolute heap of junk in terms of the quality of the kit itself. I mean, you can see on the top spine of the wing there that, you know, they haven't even tried to incorporate the variable incidence section of the wing spar, have they? It's just not there. In actual fact, the wings look like they've been bolted to the top, and whereas, you know, when you get other versions of this plane made by other model companies, the top of the wing is actually one piece, and the underside wing of the wings are actually, you know, made up of separate sections. So you've got 3 parts to the top wing, and this kit came in 4 parts to the top wing, and the centre section was actually part of the fuselage. So yeah, but the overall impressions I have with this kit is that it was a fun build. It went together very quickly, no issues whatsoever with the actual fit. It did go together very easily, and it's an unusual scale. I was quite impressed with the scale. So that's the Crusader from Revell in 1/67th scale. I hope this video has been enjoyable for you to watch, and I'll see you for the next one. Don't forget, if you've got any questions to any of my videos or any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments box, and I'll get back and try and answer them as soon as possible. Thanks for now, lads. See you again for the next one. Bye bye.